This July the 14th picks edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Circa Sports. Circa Sports is back with their Circa Survivor and Circa Millions contests. $14 million up for grabs. Get all the details at circasports.com. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Thursday, July the 13th, and we are here because baseball is back. By Jove, we've missed it. July the 14th, we have a full card on Friday night of MLB action. Joining us, three-man show tonight. First off, he's been neck-deep in the tennis handicap in Wimbledon, which I think a lot of the D-Gens have been. Scott Reichel. Scott, what's happening?
Nothing much. Looking forward to having actual games again. No offense to the All-Star break, but when the All-Star game no longer determines home field advantage, I don't really care that much more about it, so it is what it is. I understand why they decided a couple years ago to remove the importance of an exhibition game, but that's what it is. It's an exhibition game. Congrats to the National League, though, for winning. It never happened, so congratulations to them, and Elias Diaz for winning MVP. Overall, though, the All-Star weekend, I basically broke even. I had a decent amount of money on the longest home run under 490.5 feet, which got there. Having said that, I also bet on Alonso over 21.5 home runs in the first round.
Oh, yeah.
He had 21 with 50 seconds left, and his pitcher was Greg Maddux, and just started throwing a lot of pitches that Alonso couldn't hit. It was just a great job pitching by him. So lost some money there. I also had the National League first five team total over 1.5 in the All-Star game. They only had one because Arozarena and Garcia were making jumping catches at the wall, and I had to deal with that. So overall, basically broke even. Looking for the games, though. Looking forward to them.
Yeah, I think there's a lesson to be learned somewhere in all of that, Scott. Also joining us is Mr. Lonte Smith. Lonte, how are you?
Yeah, doing good. I didn't have any action, didn't watch any All-Star festivities, so I'm glad I can just keep my money and just spend it on tomorrow. So hopefully we can get on the right side of some of these games.
Yeah, we've got 15 games. We've got 12 on the board, which isn't bad. A couple of hours ago, it was looking a little bit more ropey, but we've done it tonight. The YouTube chat is live and well. Lucky Darius, is that what we're saying? Lucky Darius was first in. Well done, you. Good evening. Who else is there? King Tut, Chris Moore, LG, Aiden, TV, DBJ, J, and Millie. Everyone is in there tonight. I accidentally stumbled into the review section of the Slack channel a couple of hours ago, and I never find myself in there. And it's probably a good job because it turns out there's quite a lot of reviews that have a right good go at my accent. Now, I didn't think it was that bad, so I'm going to stay out of there. Someone also had a go at my corny jokes, which I took more offence at. But I say things and you people respond, so I don't think the accent can be that terrible. So, right then, it's not a bad card. There are loads of tight games on the books. There's loads of like -115, -105, +100, -120, stuff like that. It's not quite an opening day feel, which you could kind of. I looked at this thinking you might get more of an opening day pitching matchup just because everyone's had the break. But there are a lot of tight games on the books, so lots of good things that we can be getting our teeth into. And we're going to start with, there is no baseball, but that is not a huge problem. It's Friday night, so I can chill out. 6:05 Eastern is the San Diego Padres and the Philadelphia Phillies. We have Yu Darvish for San Diego. We have Christopher Sanchez, left-handed pitcher for Philly. -115 the Padres, -105 the Phillies. Total of 9.5. So we start with one of these close ones, and Scott can break it down for us.
Yeah, so for this one, I'm actually going to go with Philly at home here. San Diego has been better lately, but they're still not a good road team. 18-24 on the road. Philly is 22-16 at home. Sanchez, relative unknown, but he's been decent this year. 2.84 ERA. I'm really anti-Darvish. I don't think he's been very good this year, and it's not a hot take. 4.87 ERA. If you want to dig deeper into the numbers, he's been really bad on the road. 6.16 ERA away from home. His last couple of starts, 5 innings, 3 earned against the Mets, 6 innings, 4 runs against the Giants, 5 innings, 6 runs against the Rays, 5 1/3, 4 runs against the Rockies. He's really not been good lately, and I feel like this line is suggesting that the Padres have a significant starting pitching advantage, but I disagree with that because I really don't think that Darvish has been that good this year. Now, I know once again you're looking at Philly's pitcher as a relative unknown, but Philly was very, very hot to enter the All-Star break, and I do think once again with Sanchez's form this year, I don't think San Diego should be minus 115. So I'm going to go with Philly at home, potentially getting a small amount of plus money.
I absolutely love handicapping baseball. Just the first 10 seconds when you started then just sent me straight to a happy place that I haven't been in since last Saturday or somewhere. Thanks, Scott. We're back. We're back. We've got a game on here. And I agree with you. Darvish gives up runs every time. Like, every time. Sanchez is going along fine. He doesn't give many walks or home runs. His numbers are good. And it's the presence of Darvish's name that makes this price. Those numbers with another name next to it in Philly are minus 130, minus 135. Philly minus 105. Agree with Scott. Lonte?
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. My main key and takeaway was exactly what Scott brought up with Darvish. I mean, 17 earned runs in his last 4 starts, ton of contact. San Diego's offense did get it going. They had 5 or more earned runs in 4 of the last 5 games. So that kind of worries me. But again, it is San Diego. We're talking about model of inconsistency. I like Philly at home, 22-16 at home. I like the over also. I think we can see runs. And you mentioned Sanchez. He's not been bad. It's a small sample size, but 1 earned run in each of his last 2 starts. He has allowed a home run in his last 3 starts, so that's something that he might want to trying to cut down on, and especially with the bats that they got in the San Diego lineup. But couldn't agree with you more. I like the Phillies at home. I also like the over.
You like the over in there. King Tut was asking earlier on about some if you could start throwing out some player props. But the YouTube chat section's obliging there. Manny Machado is the one that most of the people look like against the left-handed pitching. Captain Sano and Lade have joined us as well. Oh my goodness, Terrell's here. Terrell might be one of my top 7 all-time people, I'm going to say. Not top 5, but I'll put him top 7. Hi, Terrell. It's lovely to see you in there. 7:05 Eastern, first pitch, the San Francisco Giants and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Ross Stripling for San Francisco. And it's Dick Mountain Day, nice and early in the second half. Left-handed pitcher Rich Hill goes for Pittsburgh, who are a plus 105 underdog at home. Stripling and the Giants are minus 125. The total is set at 9. Another tight one. Lonte, what have you got?
Yeah, so what game are we on? I'm sorry, I was just kind of sidetracked.
The Giants, Pirates.
Giants, Pirates. Oh yeah, so is it? I just want to make sure I got my notes straight. Was they're doing an opener for San Francisco, right?
Ross Stripling, 3 innings maybe.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So I thought so. Yeah, so Pittsburgh, they won 2 of the 3 series back in May of a 3-game set. I like San Francisco a lot here. The 150, is it still 150? I got my notes. I got 150. I'm sorry.
130.
Minus 125 I've got.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I like that even better. It was 150 on the overnights when I did my notes. But yeah, and San Francisco rocked Rich Hill in the 1 game that they did win back in that May series. They had 6 earned runs on 9 hits. And San Francisco is usually good with openers. I think their pitching depth is pretty good. Minaya is likely to do the stretch after Stripling gets going. San Francisco also a lead on the road, 23-19. Pittsburgh reeling a bit. They lost 4 of the last 5 going into the break. I didn't like what I was seeing from them over the past month at the end, especially toward the end of June. I'll lean to San Francisco. Like I said, I think in their bullpen games they usually go pretty well. Recent success over Rich Hill. I like San Francisco here. I wouldn't be scared to play it on the money. I mean on the run line also.
Okay, so a strong feel for the Giants there from Lonte. Scott?
Yeah, I like the over in the game. Simply put, I'm not sure what the Giants are going to do from a pitching perspective. Stripling might go 3 or 4. He's not very good anyway, so we'll see what happens. But the Giants are going to be using, I don't want to say a bullpen game, but we'll see once again how they piece it together. Not exactly a great option with Stripling starting with a north of 6 ERA. Having said that, though, I'm not a big Rich Hill guy. He was pretty good for the first month or 2 of the season, and he's been falling off a cliff lately. But when you're looking at his recent performances, I've mentioned on the show for a couple of months at this point, I've been fading Hill regularly because his last couple of outings, he has really not been good. really the command has fallen apart for him. He's walked a lot of guys, and I do think that the Giants are very capable of teeing off against him. But to look at his recent starts, 4 innings, 5 runs, 5 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 4 runs, 5 2/3, 5 runs. So he has not been pitching that well. I don't mind the first 5 over. I think Hill's probably going to give up a couple, 3 or 4 maybe in the first 5. I think you're probably going to end up seeing Stripling and company give up a couple of runs too. The Giants, historically speaking, have done very well against Rich Hill. In 83 career plate appearances, a 329 batting average, and a 386 on base percentage, and 7 walks in that span too. So I don't think Hill's going to pitch well. We know he's 43 years old, doesn't exactly have any speed to his game. It's all junk ball off speed stuff. I think the Giants are going to be able to handle that, so I do like the Giants team total over. But Hill has walked at least 2 guys in each of his last 7 starts, which is insane to me. I don't mind the walks over for Hill, but I like the over in general for this game.
That walk prop is, being totally gassed up by TV DBJ captain saying, Lane saying it moved from -125 to -165 overnight last time. So if you want that Rich Hill walk prop, you need to be joining us live, firstly, and then you need to get involved pretty early. I'm going to go the other way here. I'm going to take Pittsburgh just for a couple of reasons. The Giants weren't hitting at all before this break. Really, really struggling. It was south of 200, I think we said. The opener, or sort of the piggyback starter, we have seen Sean Manaea come in behind whoever it's been. But they have lost 4 of the last 5 starts at Stripling's gone. The only thing with Rich Hill is, and I get everything that you've laid out, I just think maybe after a little break, he's been a classic example of the old guy fade. We've got a pitcher coming up in a little while who has been the opposite, who was flouted that low. But I just think maybe he's had his feet up for a week, Rich Hill. So if we're going to get a good start out of him, it might just be at home tomorrow when he's being able to chill out for a little bit of time and rest his weary bones. But yeah, I don't like the Giants. I wouldn't be taking them at all. So yeah, Pittsburgh at plus money. We'll take a little risk on them. Okay, next is a 7:05 Eastern first pitch. It is the Miami Marlins at the Baltimore Orioles. Santi Alcantara for Miami and Dean Kramer for Baltimore. Even money on the Marlins, plus 100. The Orioles are -120. The total is 8.5. Alcantara, 3-7 on the year, 4.72 ERA. What you're trying to analyse here is, does Sandy get a fresh start for this second half? 2 of his last 3 starts were good. I think he's going to have a good second half. I've heard other people who know more than me claiming he's going to have a good second half. And that bad start that he had thrown in last time was against Atlanta, who will just take anybody apart. So I do think he'll go well. And the Marlins have been great as well. The Marlins have been more than backable because they're always a decent price as well. They're never too short. Dean Kramer is 9-4 with a 4.78 ERA. Now, the first thing that struck me, just comparing those 2 records and the ERAs, 3-7 against 9-4. But Alcantara's ERA is 6 points better than Dean Kramer's. So just shows how potent Baltimore have been, but also that Kramer's been riding his luck a little bit. He's very inconsistent. His last 3 games, he's given up 1, 7, and 3. So where's that going to land? We don't really know. His June ERA was 5.91, and I'm just not sure about him. Baltimore have won 5 in a row, but I do think Sandy can go well. Teams can be a little bit rusty coming off the break. I'm going to take Miami here at plus 100, Lonte.
Yeah, I'm with you with Miami. I actually like both teams a lot. Baltimore, like you mentioned, they won 5 straight. All 5 been on the road, outscoring opponents 44-9 in that time frame. But like I said, I think Miami at a plus price is pretty good. I would take either side at plus price. So whoever was going to be the dog, I was going to be on. Both teams playing well offensively. I could see some, both pitchers having, a rough inning against the each other's offense. Sandy's been better. You mentioned it, 1 earned run, 2 of his last 3. He's also had 2 earned runs or fewer in 3 of his last 5 road starts. So he has pitched well on the road. For whatever reason at home, he gets banged up a little bit more than on the road. But Dean Kramer, he's allowed 2 or more home runs in 4 of his last 6 starts and at least 1 home run in 8 of his last 10. So that's something he has to get down. I think we see some runs here, so give me Miami in the over. And I would also probably lean to maybe some home run props for the Marlins lineup at the top of the lineup.
Okay, lots of action there for Lonte, Scott.
I actually disagree. I like the under in this game. I think 8.5 is too high. Just looking at the overall numbers, besides the fact that with the All-Star break, you never know how the offenses are going to look, if they're going to be a bit rusty or not. But I'm going to go by the pitcher's form. Alcantara's been better lately, and you mentioned how he's been better on the road than at home this season. Kramer, once again, his numbers aren't great, but he's had a couple of really bad outlier starts. And besides that, he's been pretty decent. To go through the last couple starts, for example, against the Yankees, 7 innings, 1 earned. Against Minnesota, 3 innings, 7 earned. So that was an outlier bad start. Against Seattle, 7 innings, 3 earned. And against the Cubs, 5 innings, 1 earned. And then the start before that, against Toronto, 6 innings, 2 earned. So he's been fine in 4 of his last 5 starts. He just had 1 really bad start, which ballooned the ERA. But he's been fine. Alcantara, I do think, is a solid pitcher who, even though he's been underachieving this year, he's been progressing as the season has gone on. I just think 8.5 is too high for a total. This number feels high. Alcantara can give you a lot of overall length. And when you're looking at the last couple of outings, it's kind of similar to Kramer, where he's had some good outings lately, but a couple of blow-up starts. He was good in 2 of his last 3, though. 6 2/3, 1 run against Philly. He went 5 innings, gave up 4 earned against Atlanta. 7 innings, 1 run against Boston. He's been better lately. I am aware that's a bit dangerous, but 8.5 feels really high to me. I'm going to go with the under.
Okay, it's an under for Scott. Circa Sports are back with the 2 great contests, the Circa Millions and the Circa Survivor. $14 million in guaranteed prizes up for grabs. The Circa Millions, you need to pick 5 NFL games against the spread every week. And in the Circa Survivor, just pick a different moneyline winner each week. Enter in Vegas, play from anywhere. The SGPN crew will be out there for the last weekend in August. Go to circasports.com for all of the details. That is circasports.com. Okay, next on the board is, well, it's off the board. Actually, this is one of the 3 games we have no lines on. It's a 7:07 Eastern first pitch between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Toronto Blue Jays. Ryan Nelson, recently announced starter for Arizona, but TBD, and I've got no idea, no inkling at all who might be going for the Toronto Blue Jays. No lines on that. Scott, I mean, anything you can tell us about this one?
Yeah, I'm just going to fade Nelson. I'm just not a big fan of Nelson in general. I'm hoping Arizona's record will keep this money line from being too crazy. Toronto should be favored if I had to guess, but probably a small number, -130 if I had to guess. But Nelson's been really bad at home and really good on the road, so maybe he's in line for a good start. But he was good in 2 of his last 3 outings. 7 innings, 1 run against the Giants, 7 1/3, 1 run against the Angels. Got buried against the Mets, 3 innings, 7 runs. I don't think he's very good when I've watched him pitch, at least. And Toronto, I know, is a psycho team that Malcolm hates. But I have not been sold in Arizona's recent form. I don't exactly think they hit the All-Star break playing some good baseball. I think that at the end of the day, Arizona's a good team that's a little bit fraudulent, in my opinion. Toronto at home, I think they'll be able to get something done in this game. I know Nelson's numbers are decent on the road, but as a whole, I think Toronto gets it done. I got to wait to see what the line's going to be, though, because if Toronto is a massive favorite, then I'm probably going to have to find alternative ways to back the Blue Jays. But I see -175, actually, on DraftKings for Toronto. That's too high for me.
Is that with Bassett?
It could be, but I don't have a listed pitcher.
Yeah.
175 with an undecided pitcher, though, is massive. Like, I'm not sure if I can take that. I was hoping it'd be around 130, 140, but 175. I kind of got to reassess everything now because that line's really, really big. I'm not sure if I really find much value on this game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's it. If you see a line like that and you want Toronto, you've got to try and find different ways of playing them. I mean, Ryan Nelson's road stuff has been good. So, I mean, at that price, you could pivot to the D-backs. I hope the D-backs... Sorry, mate. Go on, Scott.
I was just going to say, I'm trying to think here. The total I see is 9, juice to the over, which means with that money line, you're probably getting Diamondbacks team total at 3.5 juiced over. That's probably how I'd lean to it. I'd probably look at Arizona team total over 3.5, guaranteed 9 at-bats. That would be the only approach I'd have. But once again, I like Toronto a lot more when I didn't have a line for it.
Yeah, fair enough. I hope the D-backs have a good second half. I just don't want them to waste what they've done, but I have got slight concerns for them. Even just the fact that they were kind of hunted down by the Dodgers towards the end of that first half. So I hope they can keep it together in the second half. We'll see. Lonte, you have anything on this?
Yeah, no, but at that price, I'm definitely going to be on the D-backs here. I think they needed that break. I mean, I'm not as down on Nelson as some are. I think he's fine, but Toronto just too inconsistent for me. I mean, they win a game 12-2 and then get no hit the next night. So, I mean, that just goes to show you how inconsistent they are.
To be fair, Springer had a kid, so he was not in the lineup for that game. But yes, they got no hit by the Tigers.
Yeah, but still, they got no hit by the Tigers after winning 12-2. That's
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm going to probably look at the over, regardless of who the pitcher is. So I'll be on the dog and the over. I think both teams offensively can get it going. So give me the over, and I'll take the dog, Arizona.
I did the math right in my head, right? Diamondbacks team total should be 3.5 juiced over with that overall number.
If it's 9,
it's minus 175. I mean, like I think that's got to be 5.5, 3.5.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. Let's talk about the game. We do have some odds on 7:10 Eastern. First pitch, the LA Dodgers at the New York Mets. Julio Urias for the Dodgers, left-handed pitcher. And Justin Verlander for the Mets, who are plus 105 at home, minus 125 on the Dodgers, total of 8.5. Urias is 6-5 on the year, 4.76 ERA. Had 2 starts back from the IL, and the most recent of those was better. Gave up 3 hits and 2 earned runs against Pittsburgh. I think if I was before backing Urias, I'd like to see it again. He's obviously capable. I don't think you could back him if he was a better price and you fancied him to go well. But at minus 125, I'm not really sure it's worth taking the risk. Verlander was going well before the All-Star break. A 2.03 ERA in his last 5 starts. 2 of those last 3 were scoreless as well. 4 of the 5 that Verlander pitched in for the Mets went under 7. So pretty low scoring games. You know the Mets were scuffling along. I think both SPs can hold it together here. The Mets aren't hitting lefties great. They're only hitting 235. 8.5 just looks really, really big. I can easily see this going under. So, yeah, I'll take my first under of the card. Scott?
Yeah, I don't mind the under there, but I am going to look at the Mets' first 5. It's been profitable for me. It's one of the only profitable angles you had with the Mets recently. It's just taking Verlander to pitch well at home. He's been really, really good at home. I don't really have much more to add there. So when you're looking at the numbers here, Urias has been really, really bad on the road. So far this season on the road, 26 2/3 innings pitched in the 8.44 ERA. It's been catastrophic with him in opposing ballparks. Verlander's been great at home for the last couple of months. I know the Dodgers' lineup is intimidating, but the Dodgers are a really bad road team, especially when it comes to the pitching. I'm going to go with the Mets' first 5 here. I'll back Verlander. I'll fade Urias. Maybe Verlander gives up no runs again. Wouldn't totally shock me. But I do think when you're looking at how these starting pitchers match up against each other, I want nothing to do with Urias on the road, and I really don't want anything to do with the Dodgers on the road. So I'll go with the Mets' first 5 with Verlander.
Yeah, I like that, Scott. Lonte?
Yeah, I'm going to take it a step further. I like the Mets to win it outright. They've been playing really good baseball outside of the Padres series before the break. We won 6 of the last 10. They did take 2 or 3 back in April, but of course, 2 different teams right now.
I like how that's really good for Mets standards, by the way, going 6-4 in the last 10.
In the last 10,
it's like really solid.
You got to take baby steps, man. You got to take baby steps. But Verlander at home, I mean, it just like nails. 1 earned run combined in his last 3 starts. Hasn't allowed more than 1 earned in his last 5 home starts. Urias, I kind of got to see him get back in the groove. He was roughed up against Kansas City, was it, that he played?
He was decent to start after that, but that was at home. So
yeah, the road start is what I meant. Yeah, road start, Kansas City. Yeah, so I think that Verlander is going to shut the offense down. To be honest with you, I think he's going to be comfortable at home. He's faced some good teams at home and pitched well. So I like the Mets, especially if you can get some plus money on the Mets. So I don't hate the first 5. I don't hate taking the under also in the first 5, especially with the Mets offensively. I mean, I'm pretty sure the bats aren't going to wake up over the break. They probably least benefited from the All-Star break than anybody, as hot as they was running. But yeah, give me the Mets at home. I like them a lot here.
I am curious, though, Malcolm, since you've had some
Yes.
time off, are you still high on the Mets in the second half?
Yeah, I think they'll be fine, yeah.
You got
Yeah.
to sleep on it. I wasn't sure if you were fully committed or not.
Yeah, I'm all in. I'm all in. Both feet.
You got a bet on them to win the division or something?
No, there was two. Do you know?
Division against the Braves? What are you out of your mind? Maybe the playoffs.
Yeah, playoffs.
Maybe.
I'm sorry, playoffs. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Division.
calm down, Lonte.
The Braves are like minus 20,000. Come on.
You're right.
No, we did. I did look at a gazillion bets over this last week from now to the end of the season, and there was more that I had. There was so much stuff that I loved, probably incorrectly, that I didn't get the Mets involved. I took a Pete Alonso top home run prop at 6-1, but I didn't get the Mets involved just because there was so much stuff that I really liked. I couldn't get involved in everything, so I do think they'll go okay, but they never made it onto my my limited funds, my betting card. One team who did, who were involved in this 7-10 Eastern first pitch. Interesting divisional series here to come out with. It's the Milwaukee Brewers at the Cincinnati Reds, where we have Corbin Burns for Milwaukee, and we have Graham Ashcraft for Cincinnati. Another tight one, minus 120 the Brewers, plus 100 even money on Cincinnati, with a total of 10. Lonte, this is a cracking series to get the second half started with for these two teams.
Yeah, definitely is a good series. We saw it right before the break. Milwaukee took 2 of 3. I'm a big fan of the Reds, obviously, as many of us are, but not with Ashcraft on the mound. I just can't get behind him with Ashcraft on the mound. I mean, he's given up a ton of contact, 7 or more hits in 5 of his last 8 starts. In his last 6 home starts, he's allowed 6 or more earned runs 4 times. I mean, Burns, I think he's cheap here. He's had back-to-back good starts, 4 combined hits and runs. Pitched 6+ innings in both games, so he's going deep into the games. And one of those games that he pitched well in was against Cincinnati. He had 2 earned runs on 3 hits. So, man, I think Corbin can keep the Reds offense limited. He has to limit the long ball, though. He has given up a home run in 4 of his last 5 starts. But I'm simply going fading Ashcraft, betting on Burns here. I like Milwaukee. They'll probably be my lock at the end of the show.
Okie dokie. Scott?
I'm really torn on this one because Ashcraft came back from injury, and Malcolm and I were pretty high on him post-injury, and he's been good. Just simply put, he's been solid in his 2 outings since. The problem that I do have, though, with the Brewers in this spot is the fact that the Reds just saw Burns the Friday before the All-Star break. So they just saw him, and I do think that could result in some problems for Burns in this matchup. But the Brewers have actually been one of the teams that have been really good against the Reds this year. They're 5-2, so they've done well in the head-to-head. This is one of those lines that I think is warranted of being a pick'em. So I actually think the line's where it should be. I'm really on the fence here because Burns pitched well against the Reds on Friday, right before the All-Star break, but they just saw him. And Ashcraft's been good in his 2 starts come back from injury. Now, I have to at least point out, Ashcraft faced off against the Padres and the Nationals. So 2 offenses that, could be better, but still. I'm really on the fence here. Like, I really don't know where I'm going to go with this one. I think I'm going to lean to the Reds, but I really don't feel great about it. But I really do think it matters when a team has just seen a pitcher and they're facing him for the second time in about a week. I see this being a coin flip. I like the Reds at home, though, and I think Burns is going to struggle since they just saw him. I'm going to lean Reds, but maybe I'm putting a lot of faith, maybe too much faith in Ashcraft's recent form. I'll lean to the Reds, and no chance I played this game.
TV DBG is cracking me up in the comments. The Brewers offense blows chunks is his scientific analysis of what's going on here. Well, I'm not on the fence here. I have approached the fence. I have scaled the fence. And I have leapt to the other side. I'm all in on Graham Ashcraft. I think he's tremendous. You're right. He came back from injury and his numbers are good. And he passed the eye test. I watched him in the 1 start. He looked really, really sharp. Just tried a few different things. He calmed himself down. He wasn't trying to throw it as hard. Completely under control. The Brewers, we know about their offense. Now, another way I think you actually just talked me out of this squad. I had the first 5 under written down, but you telling me about the Reds haven't seen Burns recently. Because Burns has been good against Cincinnati and he's been going well. But I took the Reds in my half season preview to win this division. So I've kind of got to back them up here. Well, yeah, I'm all in on the Reds. And I think Ashcraft's going to go really, really well second half. He's been a darling of the show for about 18 months now. So, yeah, I'll take the even money about Cincinnati at home. Next up is 7:20 Eastern first pitch. The Chicago White Sox at the Atlanta Braves. Michael Kopech for Chicago and Charlie Morton for Atlanta. Minus 250 on the Braves, plus 210 on the White Sox with a total of 9. Kopech, 3-7, 4.08 ERA. He's pitching well, and Chicago always lose in those games. Not stretched out very far, only 4 innings. Hoping to get him stretched out, but I don't think this is a great spot for him, unfortunately, going into Atlanta. Charlie Morton is the one guy I was referring to earlier on when I mentioned about going against the old guy fade. Charlie Morton just hasn't fit into that category at all. He's 9-6 on the year with a 3.43 ERA, but in his last 5, he's 4-0, 2.28 ERA. Not being as good at home. This is a hard game to bet on because obviously you got a minus 250 favourite. I never pick these, so like maybe 5 a year because it never gets onto my radar. I'm going to take the White Sox plus 1.5 at a price of plus 105. 3 of the last 5 underdogs against Charlie Morton would have covered this plus 1.5 runs. So I think Atlanta will win, but I do quite like Kopech. Maybe you get to the 5th inning out of him and he can just keep them competitive. I might be wrong. This could finish 14-1, but I'm going to take White Sox to maybe keep it close and lose because they always do. So Chicago on the run line plus 1.5, plus 105. Scott?
Yeah, I completely disagree. I'm going to take the Braves minus 1.5 in this game.
You going for the 14-1, yeah?
Simply put, I've mentioned it for months. I think the Braves are the best team in the league. I don't think it's very close. And then Tampa immediately lost like 7 straight to prove me right. But Morton's been good lately. Last 2 starts, he's gone a total of 12 innings, 1 total run allowed. Shut down Tampa in Tampa last start, 6 1/3, 1 run allowed. The White Sox have problems. If you want a brief summary, a synopsis of their season up to this point, Luis Robert got injured during the home run derby. That's kind of a perfect summary, isn't it? Like, he might be on the IL. I don't think he's going to play.
I hadn't seen that at all. I hadn't seen that news, Scott.
Yeah, he hit a ball 470 feet and then got injured. So I'm not sold on the White Sox. Kopech might be fine. If you want to take the White Sox, I'd probably take first 5 because Kopech doesn't go any length, and I despise that White Sox bullpen. But the Braves at home are a freight train. They're a great team, and Robert's probably not going to be in the lineup. That's enough for me. Give me Morton in good form. I'll take the Braves run line.
Okay, Scott's pretty bullish there. Lonte, what have you got?
Yeah, I'm on the same side of Scott. I like the Braves run line. They've covered 7 of their last 10 run lines. White Sox losers in 7 of their last 10, 17-29 on the road. I mean, all signs point to Atlanta dominating here. They're dominant as a favorite, 52-23 as a favorite. Chicago can't even cover as a dog, 19-36 on the season as a dog. Kopech has been fine. I'll agree with you there. He's coming off a shoulder injury though, and like you said, Mal, this is not the team you want to face coming off a shoulder injury.
The Braves have beaten up on better pitchers. Let's put it that way.
I mean, yeah, that too. But I think the Atlanta team total over is probably the better bet. If he can't go deep into this game, if he can only go like 3 1/3 or something like that, and they get to that bullpen, like Scott said, it could be bombs away for Atlanta. So give me the Atlanta team total over, and I'll take Atlanta on the run line here minus the 1.5. Sorry, Mal.
That's okay. You're probably very right. It's just you're trying to find some way of handicapping Atlanta at minus 215. Probably trying to be a little bit cute behind Kopech. Underdog Fantasy and Best Ball Mania 4 is back. Underdog Fantasy is giving away $15 million in prizes. Underdog Pick'em is a great way to get down on your favourite MLB and NFL season player props. Loads of ways to win on Underdog, and Underdog is available in lots of states too. Head to underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. 8:05 Eastern first pitch is the Boston Red Sox at the Chicago Cubs. My guy, Brian Bello, goes for Boston, and it's the prof, Kyle Hendricks, for the Cubbies. Even money on the Cubs, minus 120 on Boston. 9.5 is the total. It's another one of those matches on the line, Scott. Can you split them?
Yeah, for me, I'm going to go with Boston in this spot. The Cubs have been okay. I mean, they're below 500, which makes them competitive in the NL Central. They're still not a very good baseball team. Hendricks has been okay, except he's been giving up a lot of hits lately. Mostly his last start against the Yankees. Now, they came back and rallied. They were down 4-1. And I believe it was the 7th inning, and they came back and they won the game. But Hendricks, 4 2/3, 10 hits allowed, 4 earned, 2 home runs allowed. Really didn't think he looked that good, and I've been roasting the Yankees offense for months, and the Yankees did pretty well against them. I think Boston's a very good lineup. I think that they're a pretty solid baseball team. They're 5 over, and Bello is very, very good. So Boston, I think, is probably worth a look here. Both pitchers have actually the exact same ERA, which is fascinating. Bello's had a larger sample size because he's pitched 27 or give or take more innings. But I really like Bello. I think he's a very good young pitcher. Hendricks, we know what he is. He's a pitch-to-contact guy who throws low 90s in fastball velocity. Bello has a 2.87 ERA on the road. He's been really good lately. To go through Bello's numbers here, he's allowed less than 3 earned in each of his last 5 starts. That's good enough for me. I'm taking the Red Sox and Bello. Hendricks, I know what he is. He's fine. He's a serviceable middle-of-the-rotation guy. But he pitches to contact, and the Red Sox have a lot of good contact hitters. I'll take the Red Sox at a cheap price.
Yeah, of course, I know all of that. No surprise. People know that I've been in on Bello for a long time and out on Hendricks. So a combo of the two. And I love that price. Hendricks is always just seems on the precipice of a blow-up. Makes me nervous to watch him. So, yeah, I'll take Boston at -120, Lonte.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Boston's been on fire. They're one of the teams that I got circled on my bet on list coming out of the break. They won 8 of the last 10 before the break. Offense has been on fire, 7+ runs in 3 of their last 5 games. They're also 21-17 as a favorite. Chicago struggles as a dog, 17-28. And I'll expand on what Scott was mentioning with Bello. I mean, he's only allowed over 3 earned runs once in his last 12 starts. 4 of those have came on the road, which is where he's pitching now. He's pitching deep into games. He's going 7+ innings in 4 of his last 5 starts. Man, I think the Red Sox are going to be dangerous coming out of the break. Don't trust the Cubs at all. Inconsistent, 500 in their last 10, a bit up and down. I think Boston has a better pitcher on the mound. I think they got a better offense. So I'll take the short number with Bello.
I picked up a 50-1 Red Sox for the division ticket this week, Lonte, as well. So we'll get one. We'll do it one game at a time. We'll start tomorrow by winning this one.
I got him at 75 and 80.
Oh, Lonte, you usurp me. I love that. Me and Lonte are going to be rich. Everybody rich, I tell you. 8:05 Eastern, first pitch. The Cleveland Guardians at the Texas Rangers. Aaron Savale for Cleveland and John Gray goes for Texas. +130 on the Guardians. I nearly said the Indians then. I haven't done that for years. -150 for Texas, and the total is of 8.5. Lonte.
Yeah, so I think Texas is also one of those teams that needed this break. They lost 7 of their last 10. They look kind of out of sync, offensively especially. They're back at home, where they usually hit the ball pretty well. They're 27-18 on the season. Also 27-18 on the run line at home. So usually if they're going to win the game, they're going to cover the run line. So that's something that we'll probably get to later on in the show. But Cleveland beat up on Kansas City in their last 4. So, I mean, not really a lot to read into why they were, 6-4 in their last 10. They did dominate, though, 20-11 in the Kansas City series. So, I do give him credit for that. Savali's been okay. If it is him on the mound, I've seen Savali and then I've seen them take it off. So
I see Savali right now.
Okay, so he's back on. Yeah, I seen him take it off and put him back on. So I didn't know, but he benefited from a stretch of bad offenses. He pitched against Kansas City, Chicago, Milwaukee, Oakland. But credit to him for pitching well. I think this offense is a different beast. I'm going to go with Texas on the run line, and I think 150 is short. I think it should be closer to 165, 170. So I like Texas here.
Scott?
I'm going to take the Guardians in this one. I do agree Texas needed the break because they were not playing good baseball, and their divisional leads evaporated to 2 games because Houston's kind of climbing up the rearview mirror. But I don't want to lay 155 with Texas, especially with that bullpen at this point in time. Savali's been really good, just simply put. 2.56 ERA this season. I know last start he pitched an absolute gem. Then again, it was against Kansas City, so I'm not sure if that actually counts. But the last 2 starts, 13 innings, only 5 hits allowed, only 1 earned run allowed. On the road this season, 21 2/3, a 1.25 ERA. I am aware, once again, that is different because now he's against the Rangers, who have a good offense. But I really don't want to lay 155 with a team that was falling apart before the All-Star break and a team that's kind of been overachieving all season long based on preseason expectations. If the Rangers win, would I be shocked? No. I think they're the better baseball team. But for the value, I kind of like Savale here. Maybe Guardians first 5, but I'll take the plus 130.
Yeah, I'm on the Guardians as well. From here on out, I kind of went dog crazy. And yeah, Cleveland at plus 130. A key figure you mentioned is the 125 road ERA there, Scott. Texas Rays scuffling. I mean, Garcia coming back from all those exertions in the home run derby. So might just take, well, it does occasionally take teams a little while to get back into the groove. So in Cleveland, we're playing better baseball lately as well. So yeah, I think the live here, plus 130. I mean, like I say, I don't think you can take minus 150 against Gray, who has been poor lately. This bet was pretty much strictly on starting pitching form. And I think Savale is unjustly a bigger price there, plus 130. So I'll happily put that one in my book of dogs. Next up is an 8:10 Eastern first pitch, the Tampa Bay Rays and the Kansas City Royals. We have Tyler Glasnow for Tampa Bay and Alec Marsh for Kansas City. Minus 310 on Tampa, plus 250 on Kansas with a total of 9. Tyler Glasnow 2-3 with a 4.10 ERA. Has really settled down now in his last 3. Pitched 16 and he's only given up 5 earned runs. I'll be looking for him to go a little bit deeper into games now. He's proven that injury isn't appearing to bother him at all, and we know he can go deeper. He's been striking out a lot of people. If you're looking at a K prop tomorrow, especially if we're getting more innings out of him, he struck out 12, 11, and 8 in his last 3. So consistent strikeout numbers there. Alec Marsh, 0-2 record, ERA of 7. Has only started 2 games. One of them was okay at Minnesota. And then a home start in a comparable game here against the LA Dodgers. 6 hits and 4 walks. He gave up 5 earned runs. That Dodgers game is a good comp to this Tampa Bay game. I said I picked a lot of dogs, but I couldn't this time. This was a boring old Tampa Bay run line pick, Lonte, for me.
Yeah, I was about to ask, was this one of the dogs that you went crazy for?
Not this one. No, I'm not that brave, mate.
Yeah. So you basically took my handicap. I like Glasnow. His K prop over. I probably laddered it up. He struck out 12 against Kansas City. I want to say a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. But I like Tampa's team total over here. They failed to score two earned runs or more in 3 of the last 5. I think the offense should get back on track. You mentioned the Marsh numbers. I mean, Kansas City's pathetic. And to expand on Glasnow, he has 6+ Ks in every start, 8 or more in his last 3. That includes 12 against KC. It's a good get-right spot for Tampa. Like you mentioned, Mal, I think he'll go deeper into the game. He's getting more comfortable. Something that I did read that he left the game with hand cramps, so kind of monitor that. I'm not sure how much that's going to affect him, but I think he should be fine, though. I think he should be fine. I like the K prop over. I probably laddered it up to double digits to get some plus money on that. And I like Tampa's team total over.
Yeah, I saw that game where he left with cramps, and apparently it's happened to him quite a few times, and they didn't seem too concerned. It's just something that occasionally happens to his body, just a bit of an anomaly rather than something to be concerned about. Scott?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tampa minus 2.5 here. I think they bury Kansas City, just simply put. Glasnow at 12 strikeouts against the Royals last time against them in 5 innings. He recorded 15 outs, and 12 of them were strikeouts. You know how impossible that is to do? Like, they can't touch the ball when he pitches. Like, Kansas City's a really bad baseball team. The Rays also really needed the break because they were just leaking oil and then some for the last couple of weeks. I made a lot of money betting on the Braves in that series because they dominated most of that series. But Tampa, at the end of the day, I think is the better team. Obviously, Kansas City is the worst team in the league record-wise, or they're second worst, I think, behind Oakland or ahead of Oakland. But still, point is, they're not a good baseball team. Marsh is a really bad pitcher who's only in the majors because Kansas City just called up a bunch of young guys just to see what they have. But Marsh isn't any good. Glasnow's solid. And we know Kansas City's bullpen's not good either. I think Tampa kills them. I think they win this game by a bunch of runs. I'll take Tampa -2.5.
I would put up Yandy Diaz as a possibility for maybe
I can see a home run for Diaz.
Yeah, props, because he started the season really well, and then he stopped hitting homers. Like the back end of May, he just stopped. He got one in the All-Star break. Maybe he's had a little reset and will go again. Start the second half as he started the first half. So Yandy Diaz could leave the yard tomorrow. 8:15 Eastern first pitch. The Washington Nationals at the St. Louis Cardinals. This game is off the board. TBD pitcher for Washington. St. Louis were TBD when we started this show. Miles Mikolas is now slated for the Cards. But other than that, I have absolutely nothing. Scott, can you tell us anything about this?
Yeah, the Cardinals will be a bigger price than they should be, and I'll take the Nationals. But that I pass.
Yeah. Miles Mikolas stinks. He's way down my list. I feel a bit sorry for him because it's only in the last sort of 6 or 7 weeks that I've realised quite how bad he is. But yeah,
5.32 ERA at home as well. I'm not in. He was good against the Nationals earlier this year. 7 innings, 2 runs. Did give up 8 hits though. So the Nationals had a lot of guys on base. I don't know who's pitching for Washington, but if you want me to make a pitch here for a side, maybe Gore pitches. That's what Kaysen's saying. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what I seen. Okay. I seen Gore earlier.
The Cardinals will be laying. They should never be laying. I'll lean to the Nationals. That's kind of my brief handicap. Did
Miles Mikolas end up throwing for Mookie Betts in the home run derby?
He might have, but Betts should have hit more home runs if.
Well, he didn't really try very hard, Mookie Betts, did he? Wasn't.
No, he said he just showed up for the sake of it, and then he just left.
Yeah, so. He was just having a lovely time. Lonte?
Yeah, I got nothing, man. I like the over though, regardless of who pitches. I think we'll see some runs. Gore, if it is him, he's allowing a ton of contact. I hope he's not listening. I don't want to talk bad about him. I'm a big fan of him, but yeah, man, he's allowing a ton of contact. I think St. Louis, regardless of how they are, I think like how they've been going, I think they still can hit the ball and get some hits off of them. But I like the over. Like Scott said, if it's a big enough plus price, I'm going to be on Washington, especially in that first 5.
If that's Govey Mikolas, I'll take Washington every night of the week. Absolutely. 8:40 Eastern first pitch is the New York Yankees at the Colorado Rockies. 2 left-handed pitchers in Carlos Rodon for New York and Austin Gomber for Colorado. The Yankees are -220. The Rockies are +180. The total is at 11.5. Lonte. You on mute, Lonte.
11.5 is
there
the
you
total?
go. Sorry.
Jesus.
11.5, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the under. I know it's Coors. I do, but I mean, I think Rodon is gonna have a good outing. I mean, he was fine in his debut. 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. So I think the Yankees can get back on track here. But offensively, I mean, Scott mentioned it. I think we both pretty much have sent out our fair share of slander for the Yankees offense. Gomber actually hasn't been bad either. 2 earned runs in his last 3 starts. So I like the under a lot, especially with how I guess Jekyll and Hyde, the New York bats have been. Both teams are somewhat under teams on the year. New York is 54% to the under. Colorado is 57% to the under. Of course, I don't want to lay the -220 or 200 or whatever it is, and I don't want to lay anything on the run line with this Yankee offense, even though they will get all 9 at bats. But I like the under here, man. I think that's a little bit too much respect for a Yankee offense who hasn't been as good as the numbers say they are.
Okay, the rarely cited under in Colorado for Lonte, Scott?
I'll go with the Rockies money line in this one. -220. What, are you out of your mind? Have you been watching the Yankees for the last month and a half? What? 220. Like, I understand the Rockies aren't a good team, but I mean, damn, man. And you can make an argument, Rodon's made 1 start in the majors so far this year. He was fine against the Cubs as the Yankees got 1 hit.
No fucking run support for my guy, man.
They got 1 hit against Jameson Taillon.
Right.
In 8 innings. So, yeah, I'm not sold on the Yankees offense. Not to mention the fact anytime you have a pitcher pitching in Coors, I got to look at the historical numbers because Coors is a separate animal. Rodon's only pitched in Coors Field once, was not very good. 5 1/3, 6 earned, So limited sample size, but he was not very good in Coors when he pitched there. Minus 220. I don't know what the hell we're doing here. Give me the Rockies plus 1.5. Rockies money line. Gomber's been decent lately. Yankees also hired a hitting coach with no hitting coach experience, which is not a good look when they signed Sean Casey because he's good friends with Aaron Boone. They use the hitting coach as a scapegoat. I don't think the hitting coach is good either, but they got bigger problems than that. I'm going to go with the Rockies here. I think it's a very good price.
How about we get a new coach?
Yeah, a new GM, new owner.
Yeah, how about we
get a clean house?
Yeah, how about we do that?
I didn't mention that, by the way, before. Trevor mentioned it, though. Yeah, to go back to the Nationals game, I do like the Lane Thomas 1.5 bases, too. He's been very good for the last month and change, but I wanted to mention that, too. But for this matchup, 220 is insane. I'll go with Colorado.
This is a Yankees pod. We all know that. I saw the George Costanza meme about the hitting coach appointment. That made me giggle during the week.
Of course, that remains a constant. Then just launch it over center field. Yeah. Of course.
Lonte, you said all the right things there and then picked the wrong bet. You said the Yankees offense is terrible. Austin Gomber's been okay. Yeah, and you didn't come down on the side of the Rockies at plus 180 like me and Scott did.
Listen, man, I can't. I think Rodon's gonna have a good day, which I think he's gonna shut down the offense. Now they could win 1-0 or 2-0. I don't care as long as it goes under.
Cast your under.
Yeah. So I mean,
I just have a hard time trusting Rodon only pitching 5 innings this season in the majors, and once again he only made 1 start in Coors, and it wasn't very good. I just have a hard time putting faith in that price.
Fair. That's fair. I'm a little bit higher on him than you are, I guess, but that's fine.
I think I looked at that, Scott. Was that not in 2017? I think we might be being a bit harsh here if we're going back 6 years.
I assumed randomly it was when he was with the Giants, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it had to be.
I thought I looked at that this afternoon, and I'm sure it was 2017. Because I thought
2017, but I figured it was when he was with the Giants, if I had to guess. But let me check.
It's not important. But yeah, the Colorado have won its last 2 starts. I know it was against Detroit and the Angels, but they can win again. Plus 180.
It was 2017. It was
2017. We're going underdog mad. It's absolutely fine.
I guess the stats might not matter, but it means he hasn't pitched in Coors in about 5 or 6 years. So maybe he'll struggle again. We'll see.
Tell you what, you can tell that there's been a lack of baseball betting this week. The YouTube comments is there's a load of people in there. People are chomping at the bit to get some baseball bets down. E4 Nottingham Armour has joined us. Jamie Lee and Nags as well. Oi, how you doing? Couple of games left then. We've got 3 games. Houston at the LA Angels. It's a 9:38 Eastern first pitch. JP France for Houston and Shohei Ohtani for the Angels. Plus 135 on Houston. Minus 155 on the Angels. Total at 8. JP France, 4-3 on the year, 3.26 ERA. He's been pretty reliable. He's now started 11 games this season. His last 5, he could minimum 6 innings with a maximum of 3 earned runs, which for Houston, if we're expecting to have a better second half of the season, puts you in the game. It might not always guarantee a win, but he's putting you in the game. And at plus 135, I think that's all you can ask for. Ohtani pitches well at home. However, it's the Angels, a little bit like the Yankees situation that Scott was just blown away by. The Angels were 1-9 in their last 10 before the break. They're still missing Mike Trout. You just can't take the Angels under any circumstances. They will find a way to mess this up. I think you have to take Houston. You get the better team with a serviceable pitcher at plus 135. I'll take Houston, Scott.
Yeah, I'm all over Houston. This line's ridiculous. Houston managed to cut into the divisional lead for Texas because they played some good baseball down the stretch. I know Jordan is still out. He's doing a rehab assignment, might be back in a couple of weeks. But the Angels are the Angels, you know? They have a lot of talent. They usually get hurt. They all got hurt in one day. But Rendon's injured now. Trout's injured now. They're below 500 again. They're just not a well-run organization. And when you're looking at the Angels and what they've done well in years past, they're really, really good at wasting good Ohtani starts. They're really good at it. So I can see Ohtani pitching well, and then the bullpen blows it. But with the Astros' recent form, and with the Angels having a lot of injuries now to the lineup, this line's a gift as far as I'm concerned. I'll look at the Astros plus money.
Excellent. So we've got 2 here for Houston. Is it a team ride, Lonte?
Yeah, it's going to be a team ride, man. I like Houston at the plus money. At the plus money, I think this price is ridiculous. They should be favored. Halo's lost 9 of the last 10. I know we get a little bit carried away when Ohtani's on the mound, but like Scott mentioned, the Halos are notorious for blowing his starts. They did have a tough 3 tough series in a row with the Dodgers, Arizona, and San Diego, but they still shouldn't.
Is San Diego tough?
To them, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I think at that time they were rolling offensively, but they went 1-7 in that stretch. They're better than, well, I don't know if they're better than, but they should have showed a little bit more fight than 1-7. This was pre-injury, all the injuries that happened, especially to Ohtani and Trout. So Houston 25-19 on the road. France on the road has been solid. 2 earned runs or less in 4 of his last 6 starts. Just 3 earned runs in those other 2 starts that he just missed out on the 2 earned on. So, man, I think Houston is a big, big gift here. That should be a great price.
Okay, team ride on Houston. Love it. The dogs are barking. The penultimate game on the show is unfortunately off the board. It is the 9:40 Eastern first pitch between the Minnesota Twins and the Oakland Athletics. Kenta Maeda is definitely going for Minnesota, but it's TBD for Oakland. No line. Scott, you've got all these TBD games tonight, but Minnesota versus Oakland?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Minnesota run line in this one. I know Minnesota's not exactly a good road team. Oakland's bad everywhere. But I know Malcolm and I are fans, a small group of people. We are fans of the Maeda fan club, and he's done pretty well for us lately. So I'm going to go with Maeda, who's been, once again, solid this year with the exception of the 1 start against the Yankees where he got shelled. But the last 3 starts, 5 innings, no runs, 5 innings, 2 runs, 7 innings, 1 earned. He's been really good, just simply put. And Oakland, they can throw anybody out there. I'm not exactly sold on any other pitchers besides maybe Sears in a small degree, but nothing that substantial. They're a bad team. I like Maeda. I'll go with the Twins run line here.
TBDBJ's saying that Oakland might be calling up a couple of prospects. I'll tap the over up about that. Noah's normally good with this prospect chat. Yeah, I got nothing for this. I generally like my Oakland first 5 play if Blackburn or JPCS or somebody's going. But yeah, I've got nothing much to add to this one, Lonte.
Yeah, I got nothing either. I handicapped it because I saw Blackburn listed earlier, but I guess he's not going. But if he does go, the first 5, of course, and I'll probably play Oakland if he's going. But outside of that, yeah, I can't do anything without knowing a pitcher.
I don't know if I want the first 5 though, because I actually like Maeda. I'd rather potentially fade Minnesota's bullpen and hope their bullpen's worse than Oakland's for a game.
Yeah, I mean, I like Blackburn a lot.
That's fair. You can take the earned run prop under instead if you want to take that approach.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
The final game tonight is a 10-10 Cowboy time Eastern first pitch between the Detroit Tigers and the Seattle Mariners. It is Eduardo Rodriguez, left-handed pitcher for Detroit, and Luis Castillo for Seattle, plus 170 on the Tigers, minus 200 on the Mariners. I haven't seen a total, or if I saw one, I forgot to write it down. Either way, Lonte, Tigers at Mariners.
I think I see 7.
7?
7.
Oh, wow.
7?
Yeah, I lean to,
it's a flat 7.
Yeah, I lean to Seattle, and I like the over at 7. I think that's might be too low. Wow, 7 is low. I need to see a little more from Rodriguez coming off the injury. Seattle, I've been fading them, and I've been losing as of late. They won 7 of the last 10, including 4 or 5 against the Houston team, who we all think is pretty good. They've covered 7 of the 10 run lines also, so they're winning by margin. Detroit is actually better on the road than they are at home, and so is Seattle, and that's kind of odd. They're 18 and 26 at home on the year. But Rodriguez, he was like rocked in his first start back by Oakland, 5 earned runs. Before that, he had been pretty good, especially on the road in his last 5 games. He didn't allow over 2 earned runs. But again, I got to see more. I think I'm going to ride with Seattle here. I'll take Seattle on the run line, and I like the over at 7.
Okay, Seattle run line then for Lonte. Scott?
I think I'm going to agree with the run line of plus 105. Simply put, Rodriguez has not been in good form, so I do think that he's in line to struggle. Seattle was underachieving all year long. Then they finally remembered how to play baseball, so they ended up, at the end of it, I think Seattle's the better team. By the way, Jay Millie Lorenzen was the Tigers representative with a 2-6 record. So he was the representative. But for the sake of this matchup here, Castillo's been really, really good. And he's been good at home. I think that at the end of the day, the Tigers we know can't hit. If Castillo went 7 innings and had 10 strikeouts, 1 run, would you be shocked? No. Rodriguez just has not been good lately. Seattle remembered how to play baseball lately, which is a good sign. I'll take Seattle run line at home.
No underdogs. Give me Detroit. Now, obviously, Erod, we handicapped him last his one start that he came back, and we all thought he was going to go really well, and then he didn't. But I still think he can. But Castillo's last 2 home starts haven't been very good. Low scoring game. Total is sitting at 7. And in a low scoring game, and you're talking one swing of a bat. And I'm still not sure about Seattle, this team. They're on the list with the Padres and the Blue Jays and the White Sox and all those teams that are horrible to take. So on the grounds I had a list of dogs as long as my arm. I thought I might as well add one more to it here. With Detroit at plus 170, I think they're going to be live in this game. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, has got us to the end of a 15-game card. I enjoyed that. I am fully enthused for baseball again. Clenched fists sitting here. I'm excited. Lock and dog time. Lonte, you can lead us off.
Yeah, so I'm going to go. Let me see for my lock. I had a few. I'm going to go with Corbin Burns, minus 117. I see minus 117 right now. Hold on. Let me see if I can find something better. You see anything better than that, Scott?
No, it's pretty much it. Maybe 115 in a place.
So I'll take the 117 since it's more widely available. I like Burns, don't like Ashcraft. That's pretty much the end of it. I know he pitched well in his last 2 starts, but again, man, I mean, we went through the numbers earlier. I know you guys are big fans of Ashcraft, but
I'm not a big fan, but I'm pointing out that he's been better lately.
Yeah, he has, but just overall, totality wise, he hasn't been as good as those recent outings. But I think Burns having success against Cincinnati's lineup early on, I think that comes back over. So I like Milwaukee minus 117. As for my dog, I'm gonna go with what am I gonna go with? I got so many. I'm going with Houston, man. Self-explanatory. Yeah. Fade the Halos.
Yeah, that your lock has made me sad, Lonte. Unfortunately, but yeah. Okay, you've offset it with your dog, so I let you off. Scott?
Yeah, my lock in this one is going to be the Red Sox. I found minus 120. Bello I really like, and simply put, Hendricks didn't exactly put his best foot forward entering the All-Star break. Pitches to contact. Red Sox have a lot of contact hitters. The Cubs are also not very good at home, and the Red Sox were surging before the All-Star break. Now, it's always tricky to evaluate the form before the All-Star break because that's what the off time's for. I'm not sure if it actually matters. But Boston is the better team with the better starting pitcher. That's good enough for me. I think minus 120 is too cheap, so I'll take the Red Sox money line there as my lock. And for my dog, do I want to go for the big dog or the smaller dog? That's really the question here. You know what? I'm going to go swinging. Give me the Rockies money line at plus 1.
Yes, baby.
I was torn between the plus 1.5, which was plus 110, which I do like a lot. I think that's a very good play. Gomber's been pretty good lately, and the Yankees once again switch hitting coaches. I'm not sure how that's going to go, but the Yankees have not exactly been good in general hitting for the last month and a half. But you're looking at the Rockies. They're not a good team, but at least Crone and Bryant are back, so they have some talent in the lineup again. I know Tovar was pretty good for the last month or so before the All-Star break. But simply put, you're looking at this line. It doesn't make any sense. The Yankees being minus 220 is an insane price. I'll purely take the value. Give me the Rockies money line at home.
Well, I've got, Scott, your lock and Lonte's dog written down here. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
My runner-up dog, but I decided to go for the fences. So
yeah, I mean, because I've got so many dogs written down, I was struggling to find a lock that. I mean, obviously, I could give out one of the fancier prices. I do like Miami plus at even money over Baltimore, but I'll stick with Boston. Like I say, everyone knows that I'm a bit of a Brian Bello stan, so Boston at minus 120, and my dog was going to be Houston. But I think if you play any of these, you start with Miami at even money, Philly at minus 105, Pittsburgh at plus 105, Cincinnati even money, Cleveland plus 130, Colorado plus 180. Detroit plus 170 and add Houston in. if you play all of them, we're picking up 3 or 4 winners, definitely. That is profit to be had. Officially, I'll give out Houston. When I fill the spreadsheet in, I'll fill it in with Houston Astros at plus 135 is my dog. But yeah, we can get rich tomorrow. This my down payment for my flights to Vegas are coming tomorrow night. And that is it. Cheers, boys. Scott, anything else you need to tell us before we crack on?
Not really. I just recorded the Wimbledon show, so gonna have that posted at some point in the next hour. Besides that, not really much else. I know you have a Premier League podcast, which I have to edit too. So you got that.
You do. Yeah, we just done an hour on the Women's World Cup. Hey, that starts next Thursday in Australia and New Zealand. The USA are the plus 350 favourites for that. So listen to the show, find out if we like them or otherwise. That's me. Lonte, what you got going on?
Yeah, nothing exciting.
Couldn't beat Panama? Come on, guys. Get it together, man.
I heard they had the B team, though. I thought.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. I don't know why they're not trying in the Gold Cup, but ridiculous.
Yeah.
Panama?
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't have anything exciting like you guys. I'm just gonna sit here and watch Scott's Brooklyn Nets take my money because they've been doing it all summer league. So that's it.
Brilliant. And thanks to probably the most numbers I've ever seen in the chat tonight. Like I say, you could tell there's been a few days off because everyone was thirsty for the picks, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, that's enthused me a lot. Brilliant. Cheers, boys. Thanks everyone who joined us. We'll be back tomorrow with a little Lock Dog Total Futures Friday type of thing. But yeah, look forward to tomorrow night's games and all those dogs coming in. Until then, we will see you down the road. Cheers.